Hey there, duelists! My name is Dusty and I'm a casual, and welcome back to our casual guide to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. So last time we talked about spell cards, so today we're talking about trap cards. A great defensive type of card to include in your deck to kind of further boost your defenses and surprise your opponent during the game. So there are three main types of trap cards that we need to talk about. And the biggest thing to kind of know about trap cards is that, like all cards, they're all kind of get different special things that can make them distinguishable from others. So all trap cards are this nice pink color, and each one has a little attribute in the corner there that tells you that it's a trap card as well. And then some trap cards also have another little symbol that designates it as a counter trap or a continuous trap. So that kind of leads us into the three different types of trap cards that we have, and those are normal trap cards, counter trap cards, and continuous trap cards. We'll be taking a look at each of these trap cards throughout the slide, just kind of go over them more in depth. There is technically another type that we could be talking about, and those are what is called hand traps. But hand traps include cards outside of just your trap cards. But a hand trap means any type of card effect that you can activate from your hand to either negate an effect of your opponent or to kind of give yourself a boost in it. So Infinite Impermanence is an actual trap card that is a hand trap because you can activate it from your hand. But most trap cards, like all these trap cards here, and a good almost all of them, there's maybe a few that can be activated from hand, like under special conditions. But most trap cards have to be set before you can activate them. You have to set your trap. So what that means is that, say it's my turn on the field and I set a trap down below. Come my opponent's next turn, they do something that triggers that trap. I can activate that trap, and then whatever the effect of that trap is, results, So that kind of goes into it again. So like I said, you have to set your trap before you can use it. There are some rare expectations or exceptions out there. But the basic thing that you need to know about trap cards is you have to set them first before you can play them. Set your traps. All right, so the first type of trap that we're going to be talking about are normal trap cards. These are going to be your standard trap cards that you're going to be using mostly. And they are simply cards that you set face down, set the trap, and then once your opponent activates it and triggers it, it's one-time use, so it goes to the graveyard. So let's take a look at Bottomless Trap Hole here. Bottomless Trap Hole's effect is that when an opponent special summons a monster or summons a monster with 15,000 or more attack points, I can destroy that monster. So it's during my turn, I set that card, my trap survives, it's next to my opponent's turn. They then summon a monster with 15,000 or more attack points, they trigger my trap, I activate it, and I destroy that monster. That's one of the nice benefit of trap cards, so you can kind of set them and surprise your opponent like that. The next type of trap card that we're going to be talking about are counter traps. So counter traps are trap cards that essentially can respond to almost anything at any time during a player's turn when it's activated. So let's take a look at our example here, Bead Trooper, Fly, and Sting. So at any point when my opponent activates a monster's effect after I've set this card and it's during their turn, as long as I have a Bead Trooper monster, I can activate this card, and I can not only negate that card, but I can also destroy it. So counter traps are a great way to kind of countering your opponent's monster's effects, or even their own spells and trap cards, depending on what your counter trap can do. So that's kind of the best thing about counter traps. They are the perfect counter, as the name states, to any type of move that your opponent might be trying to make. But the only downside, since they are trap cards, you do have to set them and wait for your opponent's next turn. You have to set your traps. But counter traps are still a really useful card to have. Bead Trooper, Fly, and Sting may be one that's kind of niche to a specific archetype, but there are plenty of other counter traps out there that you can find that can work with your decks. All right, the last bit of trap cards that we need to talk about are continuous trap cards. So much like continuous spell cards, continuous trap cards are effects that once activated remain on the field throughout the entire duel until they are destroyed or until the duel is over. So let's take a look at our example here, Red Zone here. It reads that when your opponent activates a card or effect while I control Red Dragon Archfiend or a synchro monster that mentions it, I can target one card on the field and destroy it. So that's a nice little benefit, because as long as these trap cards are on the field at any point, when my opponent activates a card or activates an effect, I can destroy that card as long as I have Red Dragon Archfiend on the field. So it's a nice little trap to have that is continuous on the field and remains active until it's destroyed, it gets negated, or until the duel is over. So much like continuous spells, continuous traps have a nice little trigger or can be activated at any point whenever they're kind of triggered or activated that way. All right, so the last thing that I want to talk about before we end this video is what is officially called spell speed, but I like to think of it as effect speed because it refers to all different types of effects that could happen from not just spell cards, but all the monster effects, all the trap effects. And spell speed basically determines when that effect can resolve or when it is activated. So you got your speeds 1, those are the slowest types of cards out there. So Heavy Storm here, that's a normal spell, it falls under speed 1. Your equip spells, your continuous spells, your ritual spells, along with your ignition effects, trigger effects, and flip effects of monsters are all going to fall underneath a speed 1. So these are the slowest speeds, which means they are officially one that starts something, starts a chain. I'll talk more about chaining later when we get into dueling, because chaining is kind of a big part of dueling than it is, say, spell speeds. But so speed 1, that's going to be your start of something. But then if you've got a speed 2, so if you've got your normal and continuous trap cards like Threatening Roar here, or if you've got a quick play spell or quick play effect, that's going to be your speed 2 card. Okay, it's going to be responding to the activation of another card. And then the fastest one, those are your counter traps, like 7 Tools of the Bandit here. It can respond to any speed 1 or speed 2. And the only thing that can cancel a counter trap is another counter trap. So those are kind of spell speeds. It kind of just determines kind of a play order and when something, or when the opportunity for something to respond is. So if I summon a normal spell, that gives a trap time to respond to that effect, right? Or a continuous quick play spell or a quick play effect, okay? That's the perfect time for those to respond. But then if I have a counter trap, I can then respond to that trap card being activated, or I can respond to that monster's effect being activated depending on what my counter trap is. See it? You know? So that's kind of how speed spell works. It determines how fast your spell can respond to another card being activated and when that effect can activate. All right, duelists, that wraps it up for our trap cards. We officially talked about all the different types of cards that will be included in your deck, which means in our next video, when we talk about what to bring to a duel, we can talk about decks, the biggest component of Yu-Gi-Oh! In a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel. Until then, duelists, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments below about which type of trap cards you like the best. And don't forget to like this video as well. And then hit that subscribe button. That way, once I upload a video, it's right there in your feed for you to enjoy. You can also flip that bell icon face up. That way, whenever I upload a video, it's right there and you get notified about that upload as well. To get a further edge against the meta, you can check out my Patreon, where you get early access to videos like these and exclusive content like behind the scenes stuff and bloopers and other exclusive videos that I might be making just for my Patreon members. And of course, for supporting this channel, you get your name in the credits as well as a big thank you and a big mwah from me for that. Until then, duelists, if no one has told you in a while, I am proud of you and you are loved. Keep on rocking, rock stars. Love ya.